broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Cake Eating on AFTERBUZZ TV. No, we're doing the AFTERBUZZ Raw After Show.
Cathy. That's the fourth host. Stop eating our fourth host. Oh, God.
I'm Cathy Kelley. Sitting next to me. Well, first I have to mention, Johnny LaQuasto is out this week because he has a show at I.O.
Okay.
Pretty cool.
I thought he was in Denver.
Not in Denver. In Los Angeles. But joining us, as always, Ty Matthews.
Woo! Sorry, I was getting really into the Primetime Players theme.
You asked for this song.
I know.
And you got it.
And this is exactly why. I'm so into this music. And I'm so into the Primetime Players.
Yeah.
Very excited to see them challenge for the tag team titles. This Sunday, we're on another go-home show.
Yet again.
Another go-home show.
Every other week.
M-I-T-B? Yeah.
Yeah. Sitting next to Ty, the Hobo.
Yes, I am him, and I want to thank everybody for their tough enough support. No, I'm not on the show, but that doesn't mean it's over. We're still gonna get there eventually. We will bother them until they acknowledge us.
Rumor has it that an AfterBuzz host is actually going to be competing on the show.
Say what?
She's one of the top 40.
Repping ABTV.
So
Somebody had to.
we will see that, and we're really excited for the after show for Tough Enough. See who the panel is very soon.
A lot of rumors, speculation.
Yeah, but it was cool to see a first look at the top 40.
The top 40, yeah.
Out of how many applicants? 11,000 something?
Something like that, yeah.
Brazilian.
That's ridiculous.
A lot of native Californians in the running.
A lot of Los Angeles.
Los Angelinos.
Los Angelinos.
There you
People
go.
from Los Angeles. Well, we are not talking about Tough Enough, unfortunately, tonight. We are talking about Monday Night Raw. And as has happened many times in the past, John Cena comes out to start the show.
It's good stuff.
Yes. He says this Sunday, when he faces Owens at Money in the Bank, he will prove that his time isn't up. It's just getting started.
Oh, man.
You better strap in for a long career if you're just getting started after
A decade.
12, 13 years.
He looked tired tonight. I don't know if he really wants that.
What was on his nose?
I got bit by a dog. I don't know.
Wrestling a house show or something? Just injured himself?
You know, those
Cut
tip
their
of the
nails.
nose injuries.
Yeah.
Gotta cut their nails.
Kevin Owens comes out and he says, "You're delusional if you think you'll beat me at Money in the Bank. You're also delusional if you think people will get excited for you coming out and issuing a U.S. Open challenge tonight. You've been coming out here for 10 years and people are tired of that." Then Kevin Owens issues an NXT Open challenge for his title.
Yeah.
And Cena says he actually wants to accept it, but Neville comes out and they let him decide which title he wants to fight for. You like this?
And absolutely, I love it. And when Neville's music hit, I thought we may, and this may have been foolish of me, but I thought we may have been seeing the makings of a triple threat match. Who knows? But Neville making some solid motivations, some solid points for setting up a match that's always, Kevin Steen and Pac opening an episode of Monday Night Raw always gets a thumbs up in my book.
This is huge, though, too. One, we were talking about Kevin Owens coming on the main roster and having the title with him. Mm-hmm. But now to have a fight for the title on the main roster.
Absolutely.
Ridiculous.
First time ever. NXT title on the line, Monday Night Raw.
Former champion versus current champion. This story would have easily gotten the attention of everybody if it were on NXT.
Yeah.
But it was not on NXT. It was tonight, starting the show for Monday Night Raw.
Huge.
Absolutely as big as it could possibly be.
NOLA's crowd wasn't as hot as I thought that they would be for this, though.
Right, exactly. It's like when Kevin Owens made the point of, nobody wants to see another John Cena opener after 10 years. People didn't really cheer or boo. They were.
Are you kidding me? They were so behind Owens when he came out.
Not that I heard.
Oh, I thought so. They were just a quiet crowd tonight.
Right.
It was a little split. I think what would have gotten the crowd behind this whole situation if Neville would have asked the crowd, real simply, who do you want me to fight?
Right.
Just give him the opportunity and then go, you know what? I think I'll choose Owens, and here's why.
Right.
But at least just giving the crowd the chance to make some noise, the chance to actually have their opinions heard. Sort of all of this stuff dictates to them, this is what you're going to see tonight. But the fans want to have control of their own visual destiny. They want to choose your own adventure stories. So just give them the opportunity and they'll react.
Yeah.
That's just
I think that Neville is getting much better on the mic. Like, he showed a lot of charisma tonight, more so than usual.
He needs a bit more fire. Like, he's very much, I'm a champion, and he's very, very kingly.
He's a stand-up guy.
Right. But you need that fire, that passion. And he showed it in the match, but didn't show it on the mic. If you could just get it into the mic a little bit more, I think you'd
there.
do that
And I
much
think
better.
that there will always be a place for him on the roster, since he is really the only high flyer that they have right now. But
I mean, maybe one of the only singles high flyers.
Oh, yeah.
They've they've got Kalisto. I mean, Kofi, you can kind of make a case for either way, But he's kind of
no one does it like Neville, though.
What's that?
No one does it like Neville.
I mean,
yeah.
We like Neville. I think there might be some people that might be turned off. I don't know.
Okay.
But being the stand-up guy that he is, the gentleman that he is, as a former NXT champion, he does not want the NXT title being carried by a jerk like Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
So he says, you know what, John? We'll face each other again someday. But right now I'm taking the NXT title.
I love the last line, Kevin, you may call yourself a prize fighter, but you're not worthy of that prize.
Right, absolutely.
And Neville certainly was when he carried the championship. He made sure that thing was the most sought-after piece of hardware in NXT. I mean, at least, arguably, from everybody in the mid-card down, because they had people come on from the main roster to challenge Adrian Neville for this title. Yes. And Adrian Neville, I don't think he's as big a fool as everybody thinks. If he beat Kevin Owens for the NXT title, why couldn't he just walk on Sunday and face John Cena in Kevin Owens' place?
Right.
Come on.
Yeah. What'd you guys think of this match?
Phenomenal.
Absolutely
great as always. And nobody takes that pop-up powerbomb quite like Neville does.
Well, he can fly so high. Actually, the challenge is catching him so he doesn't fly away.
Exactly.
There was one moonsault where he overshot a little bit.
That's the problem. You do these high-flying maneuvers. He did one at the beginning of the match, and then he did one toward the end of the match. The first one hit perfectly. The second one, not so much. These are the chances that you take. These maneuvers are really hit and miss. I mean, really hit and miss. And sometimes they hit, sometimes they miss. This match had a literal 50-50 for this thing working out.
Yeah, and we don't usually see Neville using his strength, but we saw him do a deadlift tonight too, which...
Absolutely, and that's what makes Neville such a compelling presence on the show, is because he's that hybrid performer. He's got such incredible aerial skills, but he can deadlift someone like Kevin Owens over in a German suplex.
How?
270, 280 pounds, just picks him up and manipulates him, and then lands on his head.
Right.
Not even over the shoulder, but just perfect place, right on his shoulders, right on his head.
Just chicken and rice, man.
Yep, that's what that is.
Owens just barely wins this match, and then afterwards, Cena gets in the ring, and Owens just bolts.
He's like, nah.
He bolted at the beginning of his match with Neville. Why the hell would he stay for Cena?
He does that every single match, it seems like. Just gets that cowardly heel. It's great.
Except for the first time he fought Cena. He stayed in and he's like, I'm going to show this guy.
Right.
But now he's like, I got nothing to prove.
Exactly.
I'm gonna take a little walk. I'm going to take a nap, and then maybe I'll get in the ring later.
I beat you once. We're facing each other on Sunday. What do I need to get my hands dirty with you for tonight?
They even said that on commentary, that it's a smart move. He's a prize fighter, so why would he fight now?
Now that he's already proven that he can beat Cena the first time.
I want somebody to ask Cena, how does it feel trying to take away the pride of a man fighting for his family? That's all I want.
Talk about not being a man.
Pure garbage. So, Kevin Owens is the worst of the worst.
So do we think, this being a go-home show, who do we think gets the W in that match?
It's tough. I mean, how many people could possibly beat John Cena 2 times in a row?
I want to say that Kevin Owens wins, but dirty.
Right. I think he needed that first clean win. I think you're on the right track. I think he needs another win, but I think you're right. I think it'll come from some sort of shady means.
Yeah, because if he loses, then where do you go from there?
Exactly. You've built up so much goodwill with this first victory. You don't want to undo it all. Like Kevin Owens needs a win way, way, way more than John Cena does in this context.
If he lost, it'd be kind of like just kicking the troll in the butt and saying, "Get back into that bridge."
I am very curious, though. We talked about it a little bit while we were watching, but with NXT being in Ohio for their live shows this weekend, doesn't it make sense that there might be some more crossover there if the Money in the Bank is in Columbus, right?
I believe so. I believe so.
So
I don't think so. I think we've already got such a stacked card on Money in the Bank. I don't think they need to have any crossover at this point.
Right, and I think there's enough NXT presence on the main roster that having any more would sort of take away from people watching it on the network, and truly that's the anchor for the network right now.
It would, but couldn't they film something or even have like a dark match before the show begins, before the pre-show?
Maybe a dark, but I think it's much more likely that we might see, one of the lesser used main roster guys pop up on NXT as opposed to vice versa.
Oh, I'm sure they're going to have a couple, at least a main card match on that NXT show. They usually do, I believe. So
I feel like something might happen. But that's just me.
Anything's possible, Kelly, as long as you believe.
Believe? Backstage, Steph and Triple H are standing there. Rollins comes in and sees a picture of Ambrose around New Orleans with his title. Steph said last week that, Rollins said that he didn't need help, and now they're not going to help him get the title back from Ambrose. Triple H and Steph say that they're letting Rollins pick his opponent tonight so that he can prove that he deserves this all on his own.
Right. And I think we've seen such great character work from Rollins, and I think the really subtle nuances were really on display tonight. I think at the end of this segment, there's a look on his face that it barely even registers, but it says so much about his character.
Well, this whole night, this whole Rollins trying to be a real boy. The puppet's cutting the strings and he's trying to be a real boy. But when you cut those strings, you suddenly realize nothing's holding you up. So we'll see how that plays out this evening.
Joseph Boza in chat suggested that maybe an NXT Diva will debut, or an NXT
That would be phenomenal.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I could see that happening easily.
Giving NXT Divas a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? Maybe Dana Brooke. She's ready for main roster, I think.
I think she's getting ready for a brand new competition, isn't she?
She was in Brazil doing the Arnold.
Got all of her hand gestures ready, and
Renee interviews Nikki Bella backstage. Paige was mad about the Twin Magic stuff that happened last week.
How does that get over now? I'm still a little shocked. How does Twin Magic even work now?
Because they're heel again.
That's
is that the magic? That's the magic of the turn. Oh, we're good guys. Oh no, we're not. The
magic of a turn apropos of nothing.
They always need to be healed. It didn't make sense for why they were face.
No, and I don't think it made sense why they're face. I don't think it makes sense why they're heel now. I don't think it makes sense why Nikki Bella's starting
Why they're
to do
still
push-ups.
friends.
Right.
And where's Tamina and Naomi? Where did they go? Did they evaporate? Did they beat them to the death?
It's like Game of Thrones. They just thumbs in the eyes. And...
Yeah, there you go.
They flew off on a dragon.
Exactly.
Sure. Dragon, Tamina Dragon.
Still say Khaleesi and the Lucha Dragons.
Yeah.
Nailed it. That's money right there.
So that's what we were going to be for Halloween. I messed it up.
Come on.
So Nikki says Paige is just projecting her frustration on Brie and herself, and Paige says it's her house, but she's living in the Bella's world.
I mean, not a whole lot to say at this point.
Yeah, this promo really didn't move the wheels.
I mean, we're treading such familiar ground in all of this. You know, the matches are pretty good, the promos aren't bad, but it's all just such familiar territory.
Yeah.
There's not really a whole lot of extrapolation that can happen.
On Twitter, CLM2440 suggested, what if the Bellas use twin magic this Sunday, but then after they've made the switch, Paige pins Brie and gets the win?
That's very possible.
I like that a lot.
What if Paige has a twin? Come on.
Twinception.
Yeah. What if there's like another girl who looks exactly like Paige?
But they did
that
something
we don't know about.
Right. They could be trotting out Owen Hart versus Goldust dressed as Triple H all over again.
Right. I mean, there were two Undertakers once. Why couldn't there be two Pages?
Get Leslie Nielsen on the case, guys.
Yeah.
Frank Drebin.
Police squad.
So, Nikki has a match against Summer Rae. Nikki wins this match, and obviously will face Paige on Sunday.
Mm-hmm. And we saw some cool stuff. We saw even a variation of the Cobra Clutch from Summer Rae. That was pretty impressive.
This match was really good.
It was good.
It looked really super solid. Both of them looked competitive. No, there wasn't a missed step by either of them, really.
Well, there is one thing, and I love Summer Rae, and I love her work, and I absolutely loved her in NXT, but I do wish that spin kick would fall by the wayside. Just because it looks good when it hits, because she's got, such long legs, but the miss to hit ratio is so lopsided. Like, she didn't hit a whole lot of Nikki tonight. So I'd like to see her hit something a little more impactful. Yeah. Other than that, great stuff.
Honestly, I would definitely take a fall in order to miss that kick. That could be what happened. It's not that she missed, it's that Nikki saw the leg coming and just went, no!
It could have been.
We haven't seen Summer Rae wrestle on Raw in quite some time.
Not in a while, no. Especially not wrestle. I mean, the last time we even saw her on Raw, she was embroiled in the middle of the Miz-Mizdow feud, wasn't she?
Yeah. Sorry. Just where's Mizdow
now?
Oh.
Miz is back. Yay.
Yeah. That's sad.
Yeah.
They even mentioned that tonight, which we'll talk about later. But Reigns comes out and says the briefcase doesn't look so bad when it's not connected to the biggest jackass in all of WWE, Rollins. Kane then comes out and talks about how he chokeslammed Reigns on SmackDown, and on Sunday in the Money in the Bank ladder match, his job is to win. Then basically everyone just comes out. Ziggler comes out and calls Kane a puppet, a tool, because he's screwed so many people over and he's put a wrench in so many people's plans.
Wordplay!
And has hammered out so many problems. Yeah. I think it was the third one.
Yeah. Puns and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's the biggest tool.
Yeah. Said Dolph Ziggler.
Yep, and Kane even had some snaps of his own. He's like, some tools could be used for sinister purposes or something of the sort.
Good one.
It's really frightening considering his track record. He could at any moment just grab a screwdriver and stab somebody to death. So I really, when he starts talking like that, I go, okay,
Dolph didn't have a whole lot to come back to that.
Yeah.
I give Kane the W.
Well, I thought that was because R-Truth came out. He's like, I'm in the Money in the Bank ladder match, and Kane's like, no, you're not.
And like, I don't know how much it says about their method of storytelling when R-Truth's music hits, and I don't even blink. I'm like, okay, yeah, he's totally in the match.
I was trying to think of who was actually in the match, and I was like, yeah, I know there's 6 people, but they said there might be more. So
like, oh,
yeah.
No, that makes sense.
He was in the chamber. Why wouldn't he be in the ladder?
He was in the IC title ladder match. He was in the chamber. It made sense. I was like, oh no, he's clearly in the match.
Yeah. And then he apologized. He was like, oh, sorry, that's on me.
Y'all be good. Y'all be good.
And Ziggler and Reigns just cut to them, and they're cracking up.
It was pretty awesome.
Pretty awesome.
I think when we were watching, we were like, was that a mistake? Until the next stuff happened. Now,
it was great.
It seemed planned, but
y'all be good.
New Day comes out, and then Sheamus comes out, and Kane keeps on getting interrupted. Kane finally says, everyone that's competing in Money in the Bank will have singles matches tonight. So
it was good stuff, and it was the comedy was there between the moment with R-Truth and between Kane, getting cut off. All the same, I don't know that we needed every single person getting their own entrance and their own little promo just saying they were going to win.
R-Truth was the best.
It was great. That I was absolutely happy with, but I felt like there was a lot of time in the segment that could have been used elsewhere.
Kind of felt like this whole episode dragged.
They went really over today.
Yeah, they did.
The main event match didn't start until 8:03.
Right. And it was much longer than I was expecting it to be. I mean, of course, we'll get to that later, but they did go very much over.
Yeah. So let's talk about this next match. Sorry, I'm like not on my notes right now. Orton versus Sheamus. I went back, clicked over. I'm like all over the place. Jet lag still. So Orton ends up winning this match. What'd you guys think, though? I
mean, it was a match. I think that was I think that might have been our general consensus. It was, it was perfectly serviceable. I'm digging, as I said while we were watching it, I'm digging Sheamus a lot more given his recent makeover and his change of heart. I like heel Sheamus a hell of a lot more than I like face Sheamus. Randy's never quite done it for me, but it was perfectly serviceable.
I mean, Sheamus is always a less is more kind of guy. Everything that he does, it has a purpose, and sort of does Randy. I mean, more or less, but Randy never seems like he wants to win anything. And isn't that what he's supposed to do?
Right.
If you're the good guy, you want to win a match, and Sheamus just wants to hurt people, so you can't. It's not interesting if nobody wants to win.
Right, and I think that's the fundamental difference. I think some people, the most compelling people, look, like you said, like they're trying to win. I feel like Randy's in more of a position where it looks like the goal is do this move and now do this move, and it doesn't necessarily look like means to an end.
You know what would be way more interesting? We just tried to go for the RKO the entire match.
The whole match.
I'm not even
What would be more interesting if he was just a meme of the RKO?
That's what people want to see.
No, I know.
That's the most memorable part of him.
That is the most over that he's been in years, was when that was trending.
And did you hear the crowd when they started to go for the RKO? When he started working the crowd, they came alive because they want to see that move. He doesn't need to do anything out there except that move. If every other move that he hit was as a consequence of trying to hit the RKO, the crowd would be going crazy. I am not kidding.
I mean, really, the RKO is one of the most bulletproof protected moves in the WWE right now. Theoretically, why wouldn't he constantly be trying to hit it out of nowhere?
Yeah. I still like his slow-moving demeanor, and then...
You know what else moves slow? Plants. You want to watch?
Got him!
You want to watch a plant wrestle? No.
Depends. Can they rap? No. So, it's gonna be a night. We're dragging just like Raw did.
At least we're, I think, funnier.
Moving on.
Yeah.
What's next? We've got J&J and Seth Rollins
locker
backstage.
room. Seth Rollins is there with J&J security, and they come essentially to forgive him, to say that they forgive him for what he said last week. And then Rollins said, why would he need their forgiveness? He's the one that plucked them out of obscurity, made them relevant, and he said all he asked for in return was competence, and they can't even do that. Because his title was stolen by Ambrose. Right. So J&J says that they are the Shield 2.0, and I love the lines of, what in tarnations kind of man are you?
Jamie Noble's basically Yosemite Sam at this point.
Pretty much. It's like Jay and Silent Mercury.
That's exactly
Except he talked.
We finally
sometimes you just gotta say some words.
You know, Mercury Comes Alive. That's his new album coming out. Mercury Comes Alive.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like, Joey Mercury up till this point has been like, just if he had makeup, he would be the best sad clown you've ever seen. Like, it was just so everything.
He needs a tiny hat.
Exactly, he just needs a little tiny hat. But his facial expressions and his reactions have been so like hilarious and awesome to watch.
Yeah.
And so when we finally see him fire up, it's even better. You know? And then we see Rollins and Noble get fired up and start slapping each other.
They're gold.
I mean, I was really afraid that it was going to be, you know, Seth Rollins picks J&J as his opponents, and then it's all a ruse. You know, they were all just acting tough.
Because they already played that card before. Why wouldn't they just play it again?
Yeah.
Right. But I'm glad that it actually went a legit route. And, like, as much as I love J&J getting over with the fans, people are chanting, "You've still got it," like they've been retired for 30 years. Like, Joey Mercury only debuted as part of Eminem 10 years ago. Like, it wasn't that long ago that they were two of the best workers on the planet.
They are not, you know, Briscoe and Patterson.
Exactly.
They're not them.
Right, and we'll get to the main event later, but that is what that reminded me of. It reminded me of Briscoe and Patterson versus the Mean Street Posse, where it's like, look at these guys, how crazy is it? They can still go. And it's like, how old do you think they are? Like, of course they can still go. They're in phenomenal shape. Look at them.
Ron Corleone on the chat says he was on Daily Motion just the other day to watch Jamie Noble videos.
Absolutely he was. Jamie by God Noble. Tiger drivers everywhere.
Son of a gun.
Nydia. Go on, get him, Nydia. That was the best.
People in chat are also asking for an Eminem reunion.
Absolutely.
Well, Johnny got a contract now. I think he'll be tough to grab, but hey, give it a shot.
Right. But I'm glad to see both of them doing good things. I mean, Johnny Mundo's doing some of the best work of his entire career down in Lucha Underground. Mercury, we're getting to see him wrestle in main events, you know, even in the capacity that he is. It's good stuff.
Yeah. So speaking of good stuff, doing a Michael Cole transition into
Nailed it.
The Dance Battle America show from our very own creator and founder of AfterBuzz TV, Maria Menounos, and Julianne Hough from Dancing with the Stars. Comes ABC's special Dance Battle America during the holiday seasons over the last 2 years. Julianne and Maria have been duking it out with dance videos. I was involved in the first one Thanksgiving, I think 2 years ago, 3 years ago maybe, but they are hilarious to watch, and ever since they started, other celebrities have joined in, from Kate Hudson to Amber Riley to Cara Delevingne, like so many people. Dance craze caught on, and now they're challenging everyone in America to join in on the battle and duke it out for a chance to fly to Los Angeles and compete on the actual show. So, in the opportunity of a lifetime, you can go to www.dancebattleamericacasting.com for more information on how to submit your video and potentially be on the show. So, going to be a lot of fun.
Get out there, cut a rug, King.
So do you have to dance, or could I, like, just fight people? Could I do the battling part and not the dancing part? Or
is there choreography involved? Like, do you do a couple, like...
You mean like Thriller? Were those some Thriller moves? Yeah.
Thriller. No, I can do the whole Thriller dance.
That was the new version.
Yeah.
I've seen that version.
Oh, that's how you start it.
I see.
Great. Yeah. So,
All right.
maybe I'll submit.
You should.
You know?
Enough of my dancing. We'll talk about Ziggler versus Kane.
Yeah.
During this match, Lana is on the ramp. Rusev comes out mid-match and starts yelling at Lana, kind of backs her, not into a corner, but off the ramp.
Off the ramp, yeah.
And as she's trying to push him away, she falls off the ramp, hurts her ankle. Dolph is obviously concerned, gets distracted. Kane capitalizes on this, chokeslams Ziggler, and then after the match, Ziggler rushes to Lana's aid, even though he's the one that's hurting too.
Would you say he was Russian to her aid?
Yes, I would.
There we go.
Yeah.
Nope.
And then Rusev just laughing, right?
Yeah, the maniacal laugh.
I love,
So the laugh.
crazy hair, like Blanca on crutches, basically.
I mean, he looks kind of like a really giant hobo.
He does. He does.
I've met him, and he's kind of like two of me standing shoulder to shoulder, so it's fitting. Hey, bring me out. I could be his partner.
He's just a
He's
broad
crutched.
man. He's
crutched.
Wow.
Yes. Rusev crutch. Rusev crutch.
fantastic.
Yeah. So backstage, we see more of this. Ziggler helping Lana, very concerned. They're icing her ankle
He said bad words.
Draping
a couple times.
draping his hoodie around her shoulders
Yeah.
like a
Yeah, 'cause,
gentleman.
That's
she's
his
still
baby
cold in
girl.
her full Pepto suit. Why didn't they just have a big Pepto logo on the back?
She's face now, so she has to wear colors
Right, exactly.
that aren't red
Right.
Or
white or black. or navy.
Maybe.
Just more
Maybe
vibrancy.
pinstripe.
Maybe purple. Purple suit.
Maybe she'll do like lime green.
She
Like,
got real
That's
pimp
like-
real quick.
I think New Day has the market cornered on the lime green.
They're electric blue.
Tonight they were. Their lime green attire
I mean-
is that was their big match mania gear.
Because you need everybody in the cheap seats to see you. When you're in that kind of match, what's the best way to do it? Wearing the brightest colors imaginable.
Just lime green tights, man.
We see more of the Tough Enough contestants. I believe you can see all of them online
You
now.
can. The full list of 40 is online.
And I believe they are all heading to Orlando to the Performance Center this coming week. Pretty crazy
Yes.
getting things
Stuff,
started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's rough.
Happening very fast.
Yeah, can't wait to see what the exactly is in store for these people. I think they're in for a world of hurt if they don't know what the heck the wrestling business is all about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seemed like there were quite a few people that were already experienced with wrestling. Like,
And certainly a lot of people that are experienced in the gym. I mean, Jesus.
whoa.
Whoa.
Some of the size of some of these
There
people.
was not one unattractive person in that bunch.
Right.
Oh, that's why I wasn't chosen. Damn it!
What are you talking
If
about?
only I'd have
comes out.
shaved.
Finally.
The truth hurts, guys.
We've even got the Big O from the Z True Long Island Story fame.
Oh.
Yep.
That's just riveting reactional commentary
Yep.
from Cathy.
You're welcome. That's what I'm here for.
Yep.
Before we talk about Ms. TV, we have to talk about Podcast One and the survey that we're doing on AfterBuzz TV. Takes about 30 seconds to do, and we love hearing your feedback from you guys at home. What can make the show better? We are constantly trying to improve. Just like on our NXT after show, you guys were asking for interviews and we delivered. We have one with Sasha Banks coming up this Thursday. And we want to know what we can do better for our Raw after show. Probably having Johnny host it, since I can't. But if you have any other constructive criticism like that, go over to podcast1.com and take our very important listener survey there. Your responses obviously help us make the shows better here, and then it's better for you, and obviously we get to continue growing and want to make all of the shows better here at AfterBuzz, not just this one.
All of them.
Yeah.
Improve all the shows.
So help us do that. Take the survey. It's at podcast1.com, and keep those tweets coming too, because we love hearing your feedback, and we try to do better. I don't
She said reluctantly.
You're saying this as though you're doing a bad job.
I am doing a bad job. I don't know what I'm talking about
Catherine,
90% of the time on wrestling shows, and it's all kayfabe. So
your incompetence is adorable. Everybody out there is saying, oh.
Did you just call me incompetent?
No, he called you adorable.
I call you
Moving
adorable.
on.
Speaking of not adorable things, Miss TV.
Again with the segues, Kathy. Just nailing them.
I'm a
Michael
5-star
Cole.
segue.
I love Mrs. New Look.
It's great. It's great. It's almost like reminiscent of a keffier, almost.
Oh, wow. Huh?
Yeah, you know.
I was gonna say,
What
like,
the hell is that?
fashion.
Is that a coffee cake?
did Justin Bieber wear one of those hoods at some point?
Possibly, he may have just been wearing a regular hood as part of a hoodie.
He looks like a woman wearing a mesh.
Maurice
Like a
dressed
mesh
him,
thing.
so yes.
Are those her clothes? She's gonna be so pissed he's stretching them out.
Her little like sweater, like.
But I think
All drapey.
the thing about this segment is, on paper, I admit I wouldn't have been very interested, but I feel like there's this weird, unexpected chemistry there between The Miz, Big Show, and Ryback.
You think so?
I think so, absolutely. I think this segment popped a lot more than I would have expected.
Yeah. Usually the Miz TVs are a little bit difficult to. I don't know.
I think Ryback, for one, looked so proud and so confident as a champion that you bought him. Like, this guy is acting like a champion out there.
Out of all the people in that match, no one thought that Ryback was going to win, or at least I didn't. I was very surprised by that.
Absolutely, yeah.
But this feud between Ryback and Show, I think, is great. And then you are right that Miz adds something to this. He's just very scared and looks so tiny in comparison to both of them.
Right. And I think that that's what was great. I think he's this yapping little, like,
the comedic element.
Little dog that's trying to pit these two giants against each other, you know? And I think one of the things that might not have worked with Ryback's original push when he first became Ryback, and they tried to really push him as part of the main event scene, is because they tried to make him this really kind of serious monster.
Yeah.
I think we saw, especially tonight,
He's
Ryback,
funny.
He's a ham.
Yeah.
Like, he loves interacting with the crowd. He genuinely is happy being a part of the show.
And he was the first one that really did interact with the crowd tonight and got them to respond. He was saying, your former stunt double to Miz out-wrestled you every single night, and you should be thankful for what the Big Show did to you last week. And he was asking the crowd, he's like, yeah, you liked Sandow, right? And then they were all responding along.
Right. And I think, yeah, we've just really turned a corner in sort of the story of the Ryback character, with the adding of, like, the element of positivity and the element of, you know, like, reading The Secret and things like that. I think it makes him a lot more fleshed out and more than just like, oh, it's like Skip Sheffield in an RVD singlet.
Yeah. They're both like big teddy bears.
It's the idea of the self-made man. He exists because he willed himself to be, and people can get behind that, more or less.
Right.
I love Mrs. Middle School comebacks too. Like, you're just ugly.
But on the surface, that looked more like an Ace Ventura. Yeah, well, you're ugly. But I think even deeper than that, he was genuinely making a point. He was saying, you're ugly, so you don't understand that this is how I make my living. And so I thought it was a funny line. It was a funny throwaway line, but I think it was part and parcel to a bigger story.
Yeah.
But it's good stuff. It was, I mean, like I said, I was pleasantly surprised by this segment.
Yeah. Are you looking forward to them fighting for the IC title on Sunday?
I think it could go either way. I think it really, really depends on the story that they choose to tell. I think I am. I think I am looking forward to seeing how they decide to work that match, but we'll see.
The littler guy, the champion, the good guy, always has to climb uphill, and you've put arguably the biggest hill in front of him that you possibly could.
Right.
And people will want to see him climb it and try to overcome it. Whether he can or not, I don't know. It's like his Mount Everest at this point. He's shown that he can hit his finisher on him, so there's that. But that was completely fresh. After the fatigue of an entire match, how likely is it that he's going to be able to lift up 450 pounds and bring it down like that?
Right.
Really unlikely.
And I'm surprised that they pulled the trigger on that moment, tonight on that segment. I think you mentioned we've seen it before, but not in this context, in this program, since Ryback's kind of makeover, so to speak, and since Big Show's return. And so I was surprised that they pulled the trigger on it tonight and didn't leave it until the pay-per-view.
It's a good point. It was kind of like doing, Hogan slamming Andre on Piper's Pit, as opposed to in the middle of the ring.
Right.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Who knows? That may come into play. Maybe he'll try to get Big Show up, and it'll be like trying to do it to Mark Henry at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Maybe he won't be able to do it. Maybe those injured ribs will come back into play.
Yeah, what was injured can be re-injured very easily.
Especially if you're thrown into a chair.
Oh my God! Yeah, the fall on that chair. It's like, God, that was
ow! You heard it crack.
Right.
There's a lot of pokey, pointy things in there.
Right, and ribs first, no less.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Can't catch a break.
Next up, we have Los Matadores and El Torito versus Eric Rowan and Luke Harper. Harper and Rowan looking more like a tag team than ever recently.
Yeah, definitely.
Really cool to see.
More of a well-oiled machine, as it were, a cohesive unit. I've heard, I don't know if this is official or if this is canon, I've heard some places that they might begin to be called the Reapers. Who knows?
They did sort of mention that on commentary a little bit, I think.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But I think we're seeing just little additions, even just aesthetically, to Rowan's jumpsuit. It looks more dynamic. It's a lot more visually appealing than just the olive green when he was in The Family.
Yeah.
But they're doing really, really good stuff, and I'm glad they're back together. And not only that, but I'm so glad that Harper's getting a chance to speak as well.
Yeah. At the very end of the match or after the match.
Right.
I wrote down what they said. TikTok, the time to pay for your sins is coming. The judgment is waiting at your door.
It's good stuff. And Rowan, he says, it's okay to be afraid because you should be. And so it's good stuff. It's very, very good stuff. And not only that, we saw Harper and Rowan bust out the 3D as a finish tonight.
Yeah.
Twice.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
I was a little bit bummed. I was really partial to that super kick full Nelson combo, but the 3D is just as good as anything.
This is the biggest tag team in WWE right now, physically.
Right.
They dominated Los Matadores, which is, I thought, weren't they just in the title picture? I don't know. Yeah. It's fine. I mean, arguably, you give the two guys to that size together, they're almost 600 pounds. Mm-hmm. So, really, how can you possibly compete?
Yeah. Right. I just think it's crazy coming from NXT with Bray and so many people saying that they would never be able to survive on their own without Bray, and then here they are.
Absolutely. And I think I never doubted that Harper could really make it on his own, but I really, really had doubts about Rowan. Mm-hmm. That was the one kind of variable there that I wasn't sure would survive. But I think they're doing great stuff.
On a singles scene, no. They proved that they really couldn't survive and really be dynamic in the singles scene.
Well, I don't know if Rowan was really given much of a tangible chance as a singles competitor.
I don't know. I think he fell flat a lot with the crowd. He tried to be a face, but without any words, you really can't get behind a guy like that.
But that's the thing. I don't know how much of that was of his own fault or of his own doing. I think he was used in such different, disparate kind of ways that people didn't really have anything to latch on to. First, he was, stalking Renee Young and saying pretty and touching her hair. Mm-hmm. And then he was a vintner and he was solving Rubik's Cubes. And then he was just kind of there. I don't think people had anything to really latch onto and really get invested in. So who knows? Maybe a renewed run as a tag team can then be means to an end to lead to a renewed singles run down the line.
I mean, we were talking about earlier, before we started the after show, that guys on the roster, there are a lot that can be taken off and you wouldn't really notice whether they were gone or not. Mm-hmm. And I feel like where Rowan was at, I didn't really, as a singles competitor, I don't really know if I would have noticed if he wasn't on a show.
Right.
But the two combined, I do notice their absence.
Exactly. And I think you're right. I think Rowan's one of those guys where by himself, he's one of those guys that can disappear for a while, and when he comes back, your reaction is, oh. Like, you remember
Yeah.
him, but it's like there wasn't really anything missing there. But when he made that turn and when he joined back up with Luke Harper, then the reaction goes to, oh, like, now I'm interested.
I still think they're fine without Bray, though.
Of course, of course.
Yeah.
And I think that they are kind of establishing more of an identity separate from him.
Yeah. So after this, we go back to the locker room. Rollins is there, and Kane walks up. Kane makes fun of Rollins and Ambrose having his belt. Kane says on Sunday, things can go two ways. First, it's a miracle, and you actually beat Ambrose on your own. And then I cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase. Or two, Ambrose exposes you for the loser that you are, and then I beat him with the Money in the Bank briefcase. So.
Yep.
I got a question on Twitter from at Alexis Goal. Have we seen too much Kane tonight?
We did see a lot of Kane.
I feel like we've seen a lot of Kane for a long time. Like Kane is fine at what he does, and he adds a certain something to certain scenarios, but I think we've been seeing way too much of him for a really, really, really long time. Not just tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, but how much is too much? How do we get? I mean, who would we have instead, or how do we diversify what he has right now with somebody else? I mean,
I don't know. I don't think the story that they're telling with him necessarily needed to be told. I think they're treating him as this imposing authority figure, but we've been given so many reasons to not take him seriously.
Yeah.
You know, when he added himself to the Money in the Bank match, it's like, all right, like, that doesn't really do anything. Like, he might chokeslam someone onto a ladder, maybe. It might be kind of cool. Maybe sidewalk slam someone onto a ladder, but it's like, I don't really care.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Well.
But seeing him kind of laugh and show a little bit more personality in the segment was a refreshing change of pace. You know? I think his bantering with Seth Rollins back and forth can be entertaining.
I mean, there's a reason he's been doing this so long. You definitely bring something to the table that can't be ignored. I thought he was good in everything that he did, but I mean, it's almost like, can we get somebody else to fill in some of the gaps?
What I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, you go.
I was just gonna say what I'm saying is he needs to be a dentist again.
Sure.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I just feel like once they added that comedic side to him, he's harder to take seriously as someone that's scary.
Well, but I think taking him seriously as a monster and taking him seriously as a competitor are two different things. We've seen time and time again that people can be funny and can show personality and still be taken very, very seriously.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that he's showing personality and the fact that he's kind of involved in more comedic moments, it might make it harder to take him seriously as the monster he was in friggin' 1997. But I think there are still ways that we can take him seriously as an in-ring competitor and as an authority figure, so to speak.
We are already running over our time, and we still have two matches to get to.
Fantastic.
So,
well, let's get to the best match of the friggin' night.
Well, first we have to mention Ambrose got a ticket, so he is now in the building. And then Big E versus Titus O'Neil.
Yeah.
They go slap for slap during this match, pretty much.
That's great. The hashtag Minister of Mass versus the big deal, Titus O'Neil.
That's great. So Xavier saw that Big E was in trouble during this match. He went after Darren Young on the outside. Titus gets distracted and then turns around, takes the big ending, and Big E gets the pin for the win.
Yeah, but not before busting out the pounce.
Yeah.
Shades of Monty Brown.
It takes a big guy to hit a pounce on Big E.
Alpha male. Shout out to Marcus Corvon, Monty Brown, whatever you want to call him. But the pounce is something we haven't seen in a long time.
This is a really fun match. Those two are great.
And
so much action.
Absolutely. And it's so fun watching the two of them because they're two people that have really embraced their charismatic side. You know, they're both so naturally funny and so naturally charming that they finally settled into these roles where they can be such on screen.
Yeah. Next up, we have Reigns versus Kofi Kingston. Reigns just looking super powerful during this with crazy clotheslines everywhere.
Absolutely, yeah, knocking the hell out of him with a few of those clotheslines.
Seriously. And then, I don't even know. Just it was. I mean, like, this is a good match.
It was great. It was a lot more competitive than I thought it was going to be.
Reigns really controlled the ring, but with the New Day on the outside, he couldn't really venture outside of it for fear that the numbers game would catch up with him.
Right. And what's interesting is he does a lot of his offense on the outside, so I think that was a really interesting dynamic to explore.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was long and it was competitive for a Reigns versus Kofi match.
I don't know that he was scared that the numbers would catch up with him, because every time he was doing something to Kofi, he was like looking over at them. Very, like, he was trying to intimidate them by doing it, not scared at all.
But a few times they knocked the hell out of him anyway. I mean, Biggie with that big Vader-style bump on the outside.
And he wanted to keep them out there. Well, he stayed in there. And as soon as he gets out, he gets, drop-kicked out of nowhere. The numbers game catches up. It's just so quick. 1 against 3. Jesus.
And that schoolboy into the deadlift powerbomb, as much as I loved it when it was part of Hunico or Sin Cara's offense, I absolutely love it as a part of Reigns' arsenal.
Especially since he took that moment and went, I got
Exactly.
I got him.
And I think that's what really differentiates it from the Sin Cara version.
Yeah.
It's very, very good. Basically anything deadlift is impressive, as we saw from both Neville and Reigns tonight.
Yes. Reigns ends up winning this match, and then after walks over to the announce table, grabs a chair, I think, and then Ambrose's music hits, and Reigns just has the biggest smile on his face, because it's National Best Friends Day.
Hashtag besties.
Yes.
Besties for resties.
WWE's Buzz and Woody.
But I think going really, really quick, I know we're going over, but I loved that the end of Reigns versus Kofi saw Reigns finish with the Superman punch. And I think that people protecting their secondary finishers and really establishing them as an alternate means to finish a match, I think is something we need to see more of. We don't always need to see him spearing people to win. Sometimes he can just punch a guy coming flying off the top rope and win that way.
I still don't like a punch as a finish, because a punch is an illegal thing.
But I mean, a lot of finishes are, quote unquote, I think, illegal.
But a punch is it's the most basic and most simply understood as being illegal.
But when's the last time we saw that rule enforced on
I would like to
mainstream
see it enforced
WWE
again.
That is a conversation that we don't have time for.
It would make it mean so much more.
That's like enforcing throwing people over the top rope.
That's NWA. It's a little bit different.
So Rollins versus J&J Security in a non-title handicap match. Already, they were going overtime too. It's 8:03, 3 minutes over where they're supposed to be starting a new match. Bell sounds, and yeah, just take it away.
And we saw solid wrestling, just like I said, from guys that haven't been retired for that long, or semi-retired, as Wikipedia might say. But I mean, we saw some phenomenal hold-to-hold. We saw some deep arm drags from Joey Mercury. We saw Seth Rollins hitting a solid Avada Kedavra on Jamie Noble. I mean, it was a lot more than I thought it was going to be.
But then Ambrose comes in, distracts Rollins.
All he needs to do is toss that belt in, and it's like Smeagol and the Ring. Like Rollins sees the belt, and like he can't even think straight. Like he needs to get it.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really interesting way to interfere. Continue.
It's smart. That's how you do it. It's just that brain type wrestling,
right? And Joey Mercury capitalizing on the distraction with the schoolboy for the 3 count.
That's a huge deal,
right? And
that is a huge,
I was so bummed because I was really, really into that moment, and then it was underscored by Kane's music, and I felt like it was so anticlimactic.
Oh yeah, you're right.
But it was good stuff. It wasn't quite Briscoe and Patterson celebrating to Real American after beating the mainstream posse, but it was a moment nonetheless.
I mean, it proved the entire story of tonight's episode that Rollins is not anything that anybody should be worried about.
Right.
And this is your champion. beltless, but the title is still the C next to his name. The man is a champion.
And that's the thing. I think we're seeing that this world champion can't stand on his own. He couldn't, in terms of the story, he couldn't stand on his own as part of the Shield. He's not standing on his own as part of the Authority. You know, I think subtract everyone around him and he crumbles, and I think that's a very interesting story to tell.
His ego is consuming him.
Right. And it's great. He's so great at playing that character.
Yeah, there are so many things that I want to talk about, from them having another pay-per-view to this being the go-home Raw, even though we just had a show last week. Anyways, but we don't have time, unfortunately.
We need an after show for the after show.
We do need an after show for the after show. You can Periscope your way out of this and answer questions on there or something.
I don't have Periscope, but sure.
Okay, we'll download it. Okay, cool.
Got it.
You hear nobody until you have Periscope.
I've heard.
But continue the conversation with us on our YouTube page. You can comment on there, and then also follow you guys on Twitter.
Yeah.
How can they do that?
Yep, you can follow me on Twitter at TrueHobo, ProWrestlingTees.com/hobo. You can buy yourself a beautiful t-shirt. And if you want to learn how to wrestle, send an email to training@HollywoodWrestling.com or call 818-381-2563.
As always, you can find me on Twitter, on Instagram, Ty Matthews PMA. That's Positive Mental Attitude. As always, watch Championship Wrestling from Hollywood every Saturday night on KDOC and on U2 America. And just continue the conversation, like you said, on Twitter, Instagram, Periscope, whatever your means of social media. Keep talking about it. Give J&J a chance.
Definitely. Follow me on Twitter at Catherine Kelley and on Instagram at Cathy Kelley. You can follow all of us here on Twitter and Instagram at AfterBuzz TV. Till next week. See you guys then.
Millions of dollars.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.